Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Two Way Tonight. I'm Mark Halperin, your host for the next hour. 60 minutes of news extravaganza, a news spectac, which we'll be spending together. Grateful to have you here. We are fortunate, blessed really, to have with us in just a moment Axios' Hans Nichols. Truly, not hyperbolic, one of the best reporters I've ever met. And I'll tell you why, because he understands news. He's got a nose for news. And he's got a sense of humor. And he trusts but verifies. Just an extraordinary human being and a great reporter, and I couldn't be happier he's here because, ladies and gentlemen, today's what, Wednesday? It's the biggest news day of the week so far. And a lot of the news broke in the last couple hours. There's some extraordinary video. You know me, I treat the show like it's America's funniest home videos, but about politics. There's an incredible confrontation between Mike Lawler and Hakeem Jeffries that I can't take my eyes off the thing. It's just so compelling, and I'll be curious to know what everybody, including Hans, thinks. So there's that. Katie Porter went through a news cycle now where everybody saw the video of her in a tetchy exchange with the reporter. In all honesty, I didn't think the exchange was as bad as everybody's making it out to be. But I understand why people were upset by it. Now, what that unleashed was a bunch of people, including Dan Turrentine on the morning meeting, saying, well, her reputation is that she doesn't treat people well, doesn't treat her colleagues well, doesn't treat staff well. And this is the woman, by the way, former congresswoman, front runner to be the next governor of California, at least until the last 24 hours. Now there's a new video of Katie Porter talking to a member of her staff. And I'm just using my spidey sense here. I haven't had time. I just saw it an hour ago. I haven't had time to make any calls. I really do think this will end her campaign. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a too gut reaction. But when you see that video, you'll wonder about her temperament at a minimum. But I will say this: it is often the case that there's some women in politics, and Amy Klobuchar would be in this category, that when they start to look like they're going to have some big success, out of the woodwork come staffers saying they treat the staff horribly. And it happens to men too, but there's just a different flavor to it when it's women. And I know there's some sexism to it. You heard it with Kamala Harris too. There's just something about the way women politicians get covered. I think they're held to a different and higher standard on these things. However, when you see what Katie Porter said to the staffer, this could be a man, woman, mermaid. What's that thing called that's half horse, half human? What's that thing
A
called?
centaur.
Centaur. Could be a centaur. Could be anything. Anything that talked like this to another human being on camera would probably not be governor of California. So we'll play those two pieces of video for you. But I buried the lead. Peace in the Middle East. President Trump today suggested he was going to go, excuse me, potentially to the region to preside over what reports say is going to be a deal along the lines of that what he proposed. And it's an incredible achievement for the region and the world if it happens, and obviously a huge achievement for President Trump and his advisors. And there's another piece of compelling video there. Those of you with a sense of history will recall Andy Card whispering into George W. Bush's ear after the 9/11 attacks that he needed to go. And while he was reading, what was a book called? Something about a goat, My Little Goat, maybe.
My Pet Goat.
My Pet Goat. And today, Marco Rubio delivered something. Anybody who's familiar with the Bush video, you'll see it's very reminiscent. So that's a third piece of extraordinary video that I'm just teasing for you. We're going to play when Hans gets here in a minute. Lots going on the shutdown, of course. Lots going on Middle East. Comey pled guilty today. Joan Kennedy passed away. Some stuff going on in the New York City mayor's race. And the president did this extraordinary photo op on Antifa that included a bunch of, if you're familiar with MAGA podcast types, included a lot of them. That was also pretty interesting. So my point is, lots to tell you about. And here's how it's going to go. In a moment, Hans Nichols will be here. I'm gonna not go topic by topic. I'm gonna play you all the best stuff because I've teased it and you're gonna want to see these videos. And Hans and I will talk about it, chat. And then eventually you'll all be invited to participate in the conversation if you're here on the two-way platform and would like to participate, and I'd love for you to do that. Please raise your hand. Your electronic hand will get to many of you. You'll love being able to ask Hans a question. It'd be like what would it be like? It'd be like if you could ask both Smothers brothers a question. Tommy and Dick at the same time. That's what it'd be like. but in a very highfalutin way, in a good highfalutin in a good way. And then if you're watching on X or YouTube, you can't ask questions, but you also should not, under any circumstances, put smack in the chat. And have peace, love, and understanding, particularly for Hans, who's nice enough to give us an hour of his time, and extend the presumption of grace to all, including, no, actually, especially to those on the platform who say things you disagree with. And I'll say the usual reminder, because once I get 10 emails like this, it kicks in my impulse. Do not send me emails saying, Mark, I will never watch two-way again because you put someone on I disagreed with. Just do not do that. If you're doing that, you're missing the point of the platform. You're here to learn. And let's say you're MAGA and somebody comes on and they say, I love Bernie Sanders, we should have universal health care, single payer. Don't say, Mark, I'll never watch again because I'm not interested. Say, Mark, thank you for letting me know what tens of millions of my fellow Americans are actually thinking. There you have it. I try not to say that every day, but like I said, when 10 of you email me and say you'll never watch two-way again because somebody said something on the platform you disagreed with, it just, for some reason, that always bothers me, and I feel compelled to tell you, don't do that. All right, here we go. A word from our first sponsor. I got a great email today from somebody who said it was all about politics, blah, 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 Trump, all this stuff. And then the last line said, a new paragraph, Mark, you're so right about the Cozy Earth pants. I own 6 of them. So our first sponsor, Cozy Earth, might be happy to hear that because they make great stuff. Viscose from bamboo, sheets, the bubble cuddle blanket, all extraordinary stuff. Really comfortable. Keeps you cool when it's hot. Keeps you hot when it's cool. And the pants are extremely comfortable. I recommend them, as you know. Go right now to cozyearth.com. Use my code TWOWAY for 20% off your full purchase. Promo code TWOWAY. If you want to buy a half dozen pair of pants, definitely put in like the subject line, Mark Halperin told you to buy half a dozen pair of pants. Because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. Again, go to cozyearth.com. Use the code TWOWAY for 20% off your purchase. Thank you for your attention to that matter. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be, again, like America's Funniest Home Videos, but it's got political people in it. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the highly touted, never overrated, and far too dressed up, the American flag and everything, Hans Nichols. Hans, welcome. You haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
Thank you for
That
coming
kind of
back.
announcement reminds me that you played high school basketball, and I got cut from my team senior year, and I'm clearly a superior athlete. So explain to me how you made the team and I got cut.
Because I went to Walt Whitman High School in Bethesda,
Right.
Maryland. We
Okay.
were 6-16 my senior year, and I played point forward. I was pretty good. I'm sure I'd love to play at least horse with you. I'm not sure one-on-one because you're half my age. But in my senior year, one of our losses was to my high school, Walt Whitman, named after a poet. And we played Walter Johnson High School, named after a professional baseball player. So right away, you know, the fix is in. And the best player on Walter Johnson was Senator Domenici's son.
Okay.
And he
Which son? The illegitimate son? Or
no,
is that
not him. No, the one he took full faith and credit for. He had the quickest release of anyone I've ever covered, including in pickup games. I just couldn't believe how quick his release was. And we had no scouting report, and I was assigned to cover him. And we were doing a box and one because we knew he was good. So box and one, I should be fine. I couldn't get close to the guy. He just released it. I think he scored like 40 points off me.
Well, I'm glad you've gotten over it. I'm glad we've used this time to process both
Yeah.
of our high school's traumas. I say most American males have issues about their high school sports. European
Yeah.
males don't have that issue.
Where did you
They're
go to
like,
high?
oh, I
Where did you go
played
to high
club
school?
soccer.
Yeah, where'd you go
I
to high
went to
school?
Bellevue High School outside of Seattle. And my issue, and if my mom's watching, I for like my issue is that I grew too late. And so the joke in my family, because I'm 6'3" now, but at the
Yeah.
time I was maybe 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
But again,
Can you cuff dunk?
I could dunk off a
Yeah.
dribble.
Yeah.
Pretty no, I can palm.
Yeah.
I could get off a dribble. I like
Yeah.
dunking was not my problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've never
Passing
dunked.
was.
I've never done.
Yeah,
I'm a great passer. I'm a great.
yeah.
I had on my high school basketball team, and this is of great interest to no one, a future NFL quarterback, Anthony Dilweg, who played for
Oh,
the Packers and some other teams. So we should have won more than 6 games if we had a professional NFL quarterback on our team, but we didn't. All right.
yeah.
I
Okay.
want to start with Hans. Thank you for being here. Grateful to. Hans writes for the Axios. It's one of many people at Axios whose work you should enjoy. There's no paywall. And what do you cover now, Hans? You cover the White House? What do you cover?
No, this is my background. I'm not actually announcing my
Yeah.
gubernatorial campaign for California. I'm here in one of the, those those Senate studios, House and
Yeah,
Senate
you're in one
studios.
of those.
So I've been on the Hill all day.
Yeah.
I missed the confrontations because I was over on the Senate.
Yeah, you're going to see it in a second.
Yeah, no, they're great. I mean, you can't miss it. So I'm mostly on Congress these days.
Yeah. Okay. I knew that because I know who covers the White House. It's not you.
Yeah, because
Anyway,
you read my copy all the time
yeah,
and you're
I
like,
do.
that's
I do.
Scoopy.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, it is Scoopy, but the way Access works, like it'll be within the newsletter and it'll be like blah, 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 blah. And then it'll say, like at the last line, it'll say, according to Hans Nichols. But like
So there are two
it's
ways
not
to
a
do it.
byline. It's kind of
my
buried in there.
newsletter.
Yeah.
I have a newsletter which you should
Yeah, I
sign up
know.
for, Hill
I do.
Leaders, which is
I
everything
get it.
Congress.
I get it every
And
day.
then but then we kind of at the bottom give the reporters credit who do the
Yeah.
individual items.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to quarterback the whole thing
Yeah.
to mix a
I
metaphor. I'm
read
the point guard, maybe
I re
distributing the
yeah,
ball.
I read your newsletter every day, and I like it because I like the catchy topic headings at the top. It's like boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom, three things, and
a
it's
little
always
gimmicky,
yeah.
but it's
No,
news.
I like
You
it. All
know,
right,
like we
here we
like
go.
hit people.
I'm going to show you the first thing first, which is peace in the Middle East. Seems like the biggest story. So this is where's the Rubio thing here? Number 3, please. This is Marco Rubio, Andy Card style, right in Trump's ear. Oh, we have a still. Is there not video of it? I thought there was video.
Yeah, that's video.
Yeah, there's video.
Criminal
Sorry.
conspiracy.
Number 2, please. Here we
Okay.
go.
I'm just giving. Yeah, I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly. So I will take a couple of more questions.
All right, so here's there you see it, incredibly dramatic, historic thing. Witkoff and Jared are in the Middle East. Here's 1B. This is the press release that Caroline Levitt put out this afternoon. On Friday morning, the president will visit Walter Reed. He's going to meet with troops there and then have his physical. And then she says at the end, President Trump is considering going to the Middle East shortly thereafter. The report suggests that some of the hostages might be released this weekend, and maybe the president will be there to receive them. Hans, do you know? I should, but I don't. How many Americans are still in captivity?
Oh, I don't know that, and I should, and I don't.
Yeah.
I should know that.
I
don't.
should know too.
I will. I will say that on the best photo that's out there is the Evan Vucci photo, which captured the note that Rubio handed to the president. And in the Evan Vucci photo, which he posted a couple minutes ago, he's asking the president to approve a truth social post, so the president gets credit for announcing it.
We need you to approve a Truth Social post soon, so you can announce the deal first.
Yeah. Amazing photo. For those that don't remember, Evan Vucci is the one that took the kind of iconoclastic photo of the president after he was nearly assassinated in Butler, Pennsylvania, with the blood and the fists. Vucci's a great photographer. Rubio actually was
photographer. He's won a Pulitzer. He's won the Edward R. Murrow, and I'm told there are no American hostages still alive. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Rubio was down talking to Senate Republicans, and I talked to him coming out of that meeting. He was down at their luncheon, and he was already hinting then that we're really close, and that if there is a deal and there is a completion, the president is likely to go, and they'll have to take a look at his schedule. So Rubio, in a way, front ran that news from Caroline. But look, it'll be a historic moment, like, if it happens, like, right? And the president likes these made for TV moments.
Yeah. Rubio, every source I have says the same thing. He's fine with Witkoff playing this giant role. And of course, he's got 2 jobs. He's National Security Advisor as well as Secretary of State. How do people on the Hill feel about this? Are they energized about it, or they're just focused on the shutdown?
No, I think the Republicans that he spoke to came out of there optimistic that there could be a path forward and that this could be a durable and tangible peace process. I feel like everyone's waiting for more information, and that was the kind of briefing that Rubio gave them. Was that, and it was mostly our understanding. Reporters weren't in the meeting, but our understanding is that most of it was on the Middle East, and like the senators that I talked to coming out of it were mostly positive on it. It wasn't. We were frankly asking more about, did he say anything about the shutdown or anything on that front? But I think you're right. I sense that just looking at Rubio, and this is more sort of just observing him, he seems pretty confident and comfortable with where he is in this administration, right?
Yeah.
He seems to have found his footing, and he and Trump obviously have like a real rapport, and so he can, like, he conveyed that to the senators, like, I like what's going on, like, maybe there's tension there. I mean, you find these things out through deeper reporting or books or some anecdote that someone gets. I mean, I suppose.
Sorry. Here's
It's
another
it's a
piece.
great line of like if you and I were editors at a newspaper that had 3 or 4 investigative journalists, like, hey,
Yeah.
is there any tension there? Like, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that'd be a good story.
I don't think there is. Here's and this could be number 4. This is I've not seen this. It's apparently 3 seconds. It's said it's the president, the vice president, Susie Wiles, and Rubio headed back to the Oval Office from, I guess, the photo op. So let's take a look at this because this is history too, to some extent. Yeah, there it is, rushing back on their phones. All right, not a long shot, 3 seconds maybe. Anyway, this is a huge story, and we'll have full coverage of it tomorrow and etc. All right, let's go. Oh no, sorry. One more thing I want to Polymarket. This is Polymarket. Again, it's our partners at Polymarket. You can wager on all sorts of things, including political and international developments. This is number 5, please. Will there be a ceasefire by the end of this month? Will there be a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas by the end of the month? Polymarket better 76% chance, and you can see the number has gone way up over the last 3 days to 76% odds that there is a deal by the end of the month. And of course, we'll see what kind of deal it is, but there certainly seems like there's going to be a ceasefire and release of hostages. There are a lot of other provisions in there. We'll see how many of them can be implemented. There was talk today of a 2-phase process. We'll see. But again, Hans, just putting in historical perspective, if this does happen, and again, the president aspires not just to end this conflict, but wider peace, what would you say history would record have been some of the elements Donald Trump has brought to bear to be able to have this kind of influence? Is it relationships? Is it art of the deal? Like what allows him to do this?
The moment, maybe. I don't know. I mean, a lot of presidents have tried. Maybe the moment is just ripe. You have to give the president some credit. If there is a durable and lasting peace that has real solutions that can allow all people to prosper, and there are a lot of caveats in the 16 words I just said.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, presidents tend to get credit for peace accords. I mean, we Camp David peace accords, like Carter gets credit. Like they're like when real and lasting peace happens, the president who helped facilitate it, gets a great deal of accolades. I mean, you can flip back, like, does Wilson get credit for like the Paris and can probably not because his 13th point of life failed. Like, but like, I don't know, what are the other, well, in the Roosevelt room, there is Teddy Roosevelt's Nobel Peace Prize for ending the Japo-Russianese War. Japanese-Russian War, the conflict there, like it ended like 1903. And in the Roosevelt room, like we see it a lot on TV, you see the Rough Riders there, but next to it is a framed copy of Teddy Roosevelt's Nobel. So yeah, I don't know. Who gets credit for the Treaty of Ghent? I don't know.
Now the Peace Prize is supposed to be announced on Friday. Do we think they've already voted? Probably vote like a week in advance.
It's a real
right?
squeaker. It's like a convention,
Yeah.
It's like the early vote in Virginia. It's already in.
Can you imagine? So let me ask you this. I don't know. Somebody put this in the chat. Like who are like the front runners if it's not going to be Trump? Because can you imagine the poor person who gets it instead of Trump? What Trump's going to do to that person? Like Trump's going to
I think that person's fine. You have 24, 48 hours of American, like, of MAGA Twitter hate.
It's not going to be Greta. I assure you, it's not going to be Greta. Anyway, we'll have more on this, and we'll cover it like crazy tomorrow on the morning meeting. Let's move on to the shutdown. The president today talked about the terms, and again, we all know what's eventually going to happen. There'll be some forcing mechanism. Maybe it'll be the paychecks being delayed, but at some point there'll be a deal where there'll be a clean CR, but a wink and a nod to say we're going to have talks about healthcare. I mean, it's not, most shutdowns have like 72 things that have to be worked through. There's just one thing that has to be worked through. What's the sequencing of the healthcare conversations? Hans, am I right?
You're right, but you're wrong on the timing, right?
Meaning?
I mean, that happens, but I don't see there being enough pressure on either side right now. And again, no one's really felt any real pain, to your point here. No one's missed paychecks. Like the pain threshold hasn't really been tested. I tend to think the pain threshold's higher on this one, just for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And so my initial line, which was glib, and I apologize for it being glib, but my initial line going into this shutdown, there was 100% certainty of a shutdown, and it would last 72 hours or 7 weeks. Well, we're we're at day 8, so we're past 72 hours. It seems more likely that the 7-week sort of, and then you can kind of churn. The only other way out of it that you're not thinking of, or that you didn't mention, is that you just go through the regular appropriations process while the government shut down, and you do all 13 appropriations bills, and that is like you're starting to hear a few whispers about that, but that's pretty dicey too.
Maybe. I doubt it. Oh, well, as long as you brought it up, let's Polymarket this question. When will the government shutdown end? From our friends at Polymarket. Interesting question. When will it end? And of course, there's lots of new data. Go ahead and put up number 17, please. Here we go. When will it end? October 15th, which is in a week or later. 85% chance, according to the bettors at Polymarket. 85% chance. 15% combined, ending either this week by tomorrow or next week. So Hans, it seems like the betting market at the bettors at Polymarket agree with you that we're dug in here for a bit.
How much do people wager on Polymarket? Are they like real bets?
Yeah, they're real
Do we know?
bets. Yeah, real
Like,
bets.
I mean, is it $5 or five? I mean, $5 for me is real money. Like, it'd be like $500 for you.
Depends on who's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would frame it differently. I'd tease that horizon out. I would extend the x-axis and make it Thanksgiving or not.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe I'm too pessimistic.
Yeah, understood. All right, here's some good cop, bad cop. First, good cop, Donald John Trump sounding somewhat conciliatory about the prospects of a government deal and discussing healthcare. Number 12, please.
What's your position on the extension of healthcare subsidies, which is what Democrats are asking for?
All I want to do is very simple. I want to get the country open, and then we're going to discuss that. And we'd like to. Obamacare is a horrible mess, and it has been from the beginning. We want to make it better, stronger. Even if it costs more money, we want to make it better. The Democrats want to make it worse. The Democrats want to approve health care for illegals coming into our country, many of them coming in from prisons and mental institutions and drug dealers. They want to give them health care. We don't want that for our people because that's going to destroy the health care that we already have. We'd like to make Obamacare better for people, less expensive and better health care.
All right, so that's pretty conciliatory, saying we want to work with the Democrats to get healthcare. Before I show you bad cop and then worse cop, I need to update you on some things that came in over the transom in response to the previous colloquy I had with Hans. First of all, Hans, you'll find it maybe hilarious to know that on that particular Polymarket event, over $5 million has been wagered. I don't know what the individual wagers are, but over $5 million on that particular Polymarket. Number two, here are some of the people and groups who are said by bookmakers to be up for the Nobel Peace Prize besides Donald Trump. Zelensky, Yulia Navalny, the widow of Alexei Navalny, and then humanitarian organizations, Sudan's emergency response rooms, and Doctors Without Borders. If Trump loses to any of those people, believe me, he's going to go nuts.
It's hard. I mean, you lose to an organization, an inanimate object. Like I don't know, like right,
like the year Time made Person of the Year you, and they put a mirror on the front of the thing.
That's the year I won. That's the year I won.
You did win that year. I'm very proud of you. Okay, so that was bad. Good cop, the president. Here is Speaker
You
Johnson.
sure he was good cop there? Because at the back half of that clip,
well,
like he was, that wasn't exactly peace and love and happiness.
Well,
the back half was illegals.
Yeah. But the heart of it was, let's work this out. I want to work on healthcare. I mean, I'm not saying that's the nicest cop ever, but it's certainly a nicer cop than I'm about to show you, because this is Speaker Mike Johnson talking about his friend Charles Schumer. Number 13, please.
We're not asking Chuck Schumer and the Democrats to do anything different than what they've always done. We've shown you the highlight reel. Chuck Schumer gave impassioned speeches as recently as 7 months ago in March of this year. He said, we have to keep the government open. It would be dangerous and harmful to the American people. He said after the vote, he went on CNN and said, I'm proud of that vote. I didn't like it, but we had to do that. He was right then. He is not right now. We're not asking the Democrats to do anything heroic. We're asking them to do their basic duty and responsibility, as Chairwoman McClain said. Keep the government open. The first responsibility, I'm sorry, I'm aggravated. The first responsibility of the government is to protect the people. And the people who are supposed to be protected are being completely cheated by Democrats in the Senate because they want to play politics. They hate Donald Trump. I mean, they have Trump derangement syndrome. It's very real. Listen to their own comments. And they have to show a fight at any cost. When does that cost become too high? In our view, it already has. They have another chance today to reopen the government, and we'll see if they do the right thing. I pray that they do, because real people are being affected by the games here, and they're sick of it. Thanks so much.
All right, so that's pretty tough. Now, we're going to show you the 2-minute version of a 4-minute video. You may want to go watch the whole thing. Mike Lawler, fan of Two-Way, comes on the platform, was on just the other day. Mike Lawler decided to go by Hakeem Jeffries' press conference and make him an offer to sign on to a 1-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And rather than accept Mike Lawler's offer, Hakeem Jeffries got into a back and forth. Now, do you know Hakeem Jeffries? Do you know his modus operandi pretty well, Hans?
I've covered him for since
yeah.
he's like last couple of years.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I got a pretty good sense of him.
apparently he likes to ask people or say to people, "You're embarrassing yourself." Have you ever heard him say that? Apparently, he likes.
I've heard him say that about Republicans.
Yeah, they're
kind of
embarrassing.
like bend. That's one of his ticks. Like bend the knee is another one.
You're embarrassing yourself. So he said this. Here's a confrontation. Again, I like both these gentlemen. They both represent New York State. The Sumner Brooks affair, when there was caning on the floor of the Senate, certainly would be more than this. But this is about as heated as you'll see. 2 members. And again, this is the short version because we can't spend the whole show on this. Here is Mike Lawler confronting Hakeem Jeffries. And this is number 14, please.
So good.
We got a 1-year extension. Why don't we sign on right now?
Let me ask you a question. Did
Why don't we sign
you
on
get
right
permission
now?
from your boss?
Why don't we sign on right now?
Did your boss, Donald Trump?
You can easily extend
Did
the
your
ACA
did your
right
boss,
now.
Donald Trump,
He's
give
not
you
my
permission?
boss.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. And by the way,
So let me ask you a
why
question.
did you vote to
Let me
shut
ask
the
you a
government
question.
down?
You
Why
know
did
I
you
did-
vote to shut it
Let
down?
me ask you a question.
For years, you
Well,
always
you're
lectured about
making-
how we need to
you're
keep the
making
government
You're
open.
making a show of this to
No,
make
it's
yourself
sad.
relevant.
It's sad. You could
It's
easily
an
sign on to
You're
this.
embarrassing yourself
You could
right
sign
now.
on to this. The only
You're
embarrassment
chasing
here is
clout.
you.
You're an
You could
embarrassment.
sign on to the bill.
Let me ask you a question.
You have 4 Democrats on here.
Let me
Why
ask you a
won't you
question.
sign on
Let me ask
to
you a
it?
question.
It's a
Let
clean
me ask you
extension
a
for 1
question.
year.
You voted for the one big
Clean
ugly bill,
extension.
correct?
I voted for a
The
tax cut
largest-
bill that gave the
the
largest
largest
tax
cut-
cut
the
to
largest-
Americans in history,
the
including, by
largest-
the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're embarrassing
Do you want
yourself
to
right
you want
now.
to cut the standard deduction in
The
half? Is that
largest
what you
cut
wanted
to
to do?
Medicaid in
No, we
American
rooted
history.
out
You voted
waste,
for that.
fraud, and abuse, by the
You
way.
voted
Tom DiNapoli, the
for a
Democratic
permanent-
controller of New York,
Let me ask you a question.
pointed out that $1.2 billion
If you're
were
gonna-
wasted.
Listen, you're not going
wasted,
to talk.
wasted,
You're not going to talk to
wasted
me. You're not
on
going to talk to me
fraud
and talk
and
over
non-New
me
York residents
because you don't
getting
want to
paid.
hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm
So
listening.
why don't
Go
you
ahead.
just keep your mouth shut?
Oh,
because you
is
showed
that-
up.
is that the way to
you
talk?
showed up. You showed up.
Yeah.
And so you voted for this one
I
big
signed
ugly
on
bill.
for this. You can extend it
A
right now.
permanent extension of massive tax breaks for your billionaire donors.
So 90% of
So
Americans.
they can get a permanent extension.
90% of
but
Americans
working
take the
class
standard
Americans
deduction.
can't? Is that right?
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that right?
If you had your way, the standard deduction would have been cut in half. That
No
would have been a
one-
massive tax increase
one-
on Americans all across the country.
You're
You support
here,
that?
unfortunately.
You're against
to do
lifting the cap on
bidding
salt?
Of your billionaire donors.
The
That's
billionaire
unfortunate.
donors lifting the
That's
cap on
correct.
salt. We put a income cap in place.
Why are you here right now?
An income
Where the
cap.
re- where the rest
Didn't
of
you
your
want all
Republican
Republicans
colleagues?
to be here?
Where
I'm
the rest,
here.
Where are the rest of your Republican
You wanted
colleagues?
Republicans to be here. I'm here.
Why are you
And by
here?
the way,
What-
you can
what-
pass an ACA extension right now. Sign
your
on to this
boss-
bill.
Did your boss
sign
Donald
on
Trump-
to the bill?
Is your boss Donald Trump behind that?
HR
yet?
5145. Why don't you get on it?
Mike, is your boss Donald Trump behind that?
Why
yet?
won't you get on it?
Because you don't work for the American people.
Oh, I do. I
You
work
don't
for the people of New
17th
York. I
congressional
work for the
district.
people of my district.
Is that why you? Is that
I'm
why
here.
You got 145.
And by the way, I voted
people
for
on
a
Medicaid.
clean CR to keep the government open
Mike,
and funded.
you're-
You voted to shut it
You're
down.
embarrassing yourself right
Yeah,
now.
leader, with all due
Or as we
respect,
would say
you're
back
the
in the day,
one.
why are you playing yourself?
You're the one
Why are
who
you playing
actually
yourself with
voted
these
to shut the
theatrics?
government down.
Actually, you
It's
know
sad.
that's not true.
It's sad. You voted to shut the government down.
Do Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the president?
Right, and
correct?
you're smart enough to know
Is
that,
that
you
right?
need 60 votes in the Senate,
Is
right?
that right? No.
Do you need 60 votes in the
Were
Senate or no?
60 votes needed to pass your one big ugly bill?
Eek. Hans, what are your top line thoughts about that exchange?
In the House of Parliament, in the House of Commons in Parliament, the two sides are sword length apart, right? And so you come to Washington and you think you're going to get more of that, right? You come to Washington, at least for me, in high school, you're watching Crossfire, you think there are going to be a lot of debates. Mostly you see an empty House chamber and you see people talking to the cameras, and it's really not that dynamic. Sometimes in committee hearings, things get a little chippy. That was democracy. That was smash mouth democracy. That was great. I don't know who won.
Yeah. Well, is there substance embedded in that exchange? Is there some principled substantive dispute, or it was just like the dozens?
No, they were talking over each other too much. I mean, is there substance in a food fight? No.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that was a political food fight. No one landed any blows. They both kind of I don't know. I don't know how they feel about it. We should ask Lawler how.
Yeah.
I guess the better question here is like, how will that be shared on social,
Yeah.
and how will get shaped by social, and who will like have be deemed to have won that?
Will it be on the network evening newscasts that are beginning right now? Or
If you and I were
inside?
running it, if you and I
Yeah.
were like running it, we'd break into specials with that. Right?
Yeah, maybe. All right. Quick word from a sponsor, and then we're going to show you the Katie Porter. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we do the nightly news version of that? See if we can do it off the top of our heads.
Of how the piece would go tonight on Capitol Hill.
The lawmakers.
Tensions boiling over as lawmakers from both parties unclear when the shutdown will end.
You did it right because you didn't use a single verb, only gerunds.
Correct, only gerunds. But I hate that thing where they say tonight on Capitol Hill, tension, lawmakers. So ridiculous.
Save words. Okay, it's your sponsor.
Okay.
Your sponsor.
All right, to sponsor, and then we're going to show you this Katie Porter video. And I just say the producers, I don't want to play the whole minute 25. Like go towards the end where the whole thing happens. We don't need to see the substantive part of that because it's out of context. Anyway, another word from another sponsor. This is from Lean. TakeLean.com is an opportunity for you to lose weight the right way. Do not yo-yo. Do not do weight cycling where you gain 10 pounds, lose 10 pounds. Incredibly unhealthy. It puts you at risk of all sorts of bad things. There's a solution to that. To avoid weight cycling, get help by losing weight the right way from non-prescription lean created by doctors. It's not one of those GLP-1 injectables. The science here allows you to maintain healthy blood sugar, control your appetite and cravings, and convert fat to energy that helps you keep the weight off. If you want to try something to lose weight a way that is safe and effective and doesn't cause you to go up and down with the weight cycling, go to TakeLean.com. Put in the promo code 2way and take 20% off your order. Again, go to TakeLean.com. Use the promo code 2way. Give yourself a chance to lose weight a healthy way with a doctor-approved formula. Again, promo code 2way at TakeLean.com. All right. Katie Porter is the front runner, or at least she was, to be the Democratic favorite. Again, California has a weird system. Everybody runs on one ballot. There's this guy Caruso who's like Republican, Democrat, independent, everything, billionaire shopping mall developer. He might run. The other Democrats in the race, former Biden cabinet official, former mayor of LA, a bunch of state officials. Katie Porter had risen to the top of the heap here. Yesterday, this video came out of her with this contentious interview with a California reporter. And then today, because people who worked for Katie Porter, many of them don't like Katie Porter, this video was brought forward by Hans's old pals at The Politico. Roll tape.
And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money.
So Hans, I think I've said those words to you. Get out of my fucking shot.
Yeah.
You and I are friends.
What's the foul there?
Exactly.
We're not allowed to do that. What year was that?
Again, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I really do think this ends her campaign. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if it ends their campaign or not, it's just going to invite more challengers, right? Like they're just like if Rick Caruso jumps in, that's one thing. I mean, Senator Padilla, there's like this chatter here, and like yes, she's the front runner, but she's just the front runner because that's where the polls have it right now, 13 months out, right? Like she's not the front runner. Anyone that's writing a check right now doesn't think of her as a front runner.
Yeah,
she's a front runner on polls against is it on polls against not no names, but people that just aren't front center. So to me, that's just a giant invite. Go ahead and get in the race.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's an invite for people to not write checks and an invite for people who've worked for her to now tell their stories to reporters about what a horrible boss she is.
And an invite for other reporters to find more videos.
Yeah.
You're forgetting.
Although I can't believe she's done something like that multiple times on tape, but maybe she has.
Well, again, you and I were like, what's the big deal? I mean, someone's in your shot. I mean,
I know.
Getting my light and you're really, I mean, take my makeup bag and things get, things get tense.
Exactly. All right. We got some more stories to cover. The president this morning on Truth Social right around the time of the morning meeting said that the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago should be in prison because they're not welcoming in his help for ICE. Both gentlemen responded today. We'll just play them back to back. Play both 10, Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, and then 11, Governor Pritzker on MSNBC.
President Trump this morning called for you, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, to be jailed for, quote, failing to protect ICE officers. What is your response?
Well, first of all, this president is unstable, unhinged, a double-minded individual that, quite frankly, is a threat to our democracy. And it's certainly not the first time that Donald Trump has called for the arresting of a black man unjustly. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay firm as the mayor of this amazing city, which was voted 9 years in a row the best big city in America, and we're going to defend all of Chicago.
Yeah, and to be clear, he's also calling for the governor, J.B. Pritzker, to be jailed as well.
You know as well as I do, the President of the United States in the last 24 hours called for you to be imprisoned. I want to give you an opportunity. We've seen your reaction on social media, but I want to hear what you have to say back to the President of the United States.
Well, let's start with the idea that this is a convicted felon. I mean, think about that, who is threatening to jail me. I got to say, this guy's unhinged. He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator. And there's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me. So come and get me.
What does that mean?
Hans, I just love your a district court judge is going to hear arguments on this whole thing or some of this tomorrow. What's your view in general of what's going on in Chicago and in Portland?
Well, I think the president's statement is really the key. I don't. If you and I were editing copy, if he says should be arrested, is that the same as calling for their arrest?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd also note that there have been a lot of shoulds on what should happen to Donald Trump, right? He is the president, though, so he should be held to a higher standard. Look, here's my general question, and you've lived in Tokyo, I think, you've lived in, what is an acceptable murder rate for major American cities? And no one can really tell me that. Like one is too high, obviously, right? But people are in DC, where we're down from 30 to whatever, it's 30 per 100,000 down to 27, and people say that's a huge success. It's shocking to me.
Yeah.
Whenever you read stories on murders in American cities, the numbers they're the only kind of numbers that confuse me as much on that is when you look at numbers from drug overdoses in this countries, you look at the amount of attrition that Russian troops are having in Ukraine. They just don't make sense. They're numbers that just you think you misprint, or when you're reading a federal deficit number. The numbers don't make sense to me. So if we tell me what the number is for an acceptable number of deaths in a civilized society in a major city, and then we can have an argument about how successful some cities are versus another. But you read a 4th of July weekend in Chicago, there are a lot of shootings, a lot of again, I'm not from there. I'm not a Chicago beat reporter. I'm not talking to cops. I know they have unique challenges with a unique set of circumstances, but then even in DC, the numbers are high. There are areas that you and I spend a lot of time here. There are areas that you and I know not to go to, and that and most of the murders happen on the other side of the river in places where the kids don't have a lot of opportunity. It's sad. So
Amen to all that.
I don't know. I think it's sad.
Okay, a few more stories, then we're going to get to your questions. Please raise your hand if you want in the conversation. Stock market today, number 22, more record highs. Again, I've never covered a more confounding American economy than we're facing now, where people are saying stagflation or people are saying we're about to take off. Here's the headline from our friends at CNBC. S&P 500, NASDAQ closed at record highs as Wall Street looks past the U.S. government shutdown. Here is market closes from our friends at the Bahnsen Group, David Bahnsen and his folks. A Dow inexplicably down, but S&P and NASDAQ up. Reminder, on the 14th, 6 days from now, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, David Bahnsen and I will be taking your questions. Again, a special opportunity to talk to David about the macroeconomy or investment strategy. Go to twoway.tv/TBG to sign up. Again, this won't be on YouTube. It's an exclusive event just for those on the Two-Way platform. October 14th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also sign up for David's newsletter at the same place, twoway.tv/TBD. Dividend Cafe comes out daily. It's free. It has great writing and everything else on the macro economy. and Trump policy, I recommend it to you. Lastly, Hans, I wanted to ask you about one more thing.
You're not going to ask me on the market? Sell. Things
You
are
can
too
ask me
high.
about the
Sell.
markets.
It's frothy. Get out.
Yeah, it is frothy. Comey pled guilty today. Trial set for January. I'm just curious if you think that thing will ever go. I played non-guilty. Sorry. Sorry. I just wondering if you think that thing will ever go to trial.
Oh, I don't know. No idea. No idea on that
Okay.
one. I mean, I guess they got to do jury selection. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like the government wants to move forward. When the government wants to move forward on cases, they tend to, but maybe they get thrown on a technicality. I don't know.
Pretty speedy trial. Yeah, it's weird. Some experts say it'll be thrown out. That's what I think. Others experts say it's just not the kind of thing that will get thrown out. I think this judge will throw it out. We'll see. All right. One last word from one last sponsor, and then your question. So please raise your hand. Nancy Rommelman had her hand up but then disappeared. Nancy, please come back. Eager to hear from you. All right, CB Distillery, our last sponsor of the night. Nights when you cannot sleep, when you're maybe sore from working out or just feeling a little bit out of sorts in terms of mood and focus, that is an opportunity for you to try what has worked for over 2 million people. The products at CB Distillery, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. It allows you to have a restful experience, and for many people allows them to sleep better. So if you're ready to give that a try, again, it's worked for over 2 million people who recommend their products. Go right now, save 25% off your entire order. Go to cbdistillery.com. Use the promo code TWOWAY. Promo code TWOWAY, cbdistillery.com. 25% off your order if you want to give something new, if you haven't tried it, an opportunity to see if it'll allow you to sleep better and feel better. cbdistillery.com. All right, opportunity of a lifetime to question high school basketball star from the great Pacific Northwest, Hans 6'3" Nichols. Here we go. Of course, we start with Cal. Cal, welcome in. Thank you for being part of Two-Way. Tell folks who don't know where you are in South Carolina and question for Hans.
Great city of Sumter, South Carolina. I'm reading on Twitter that looks like Israeli officials are saying they've had an agreement to the end the war.
Yeah. You missed. We talked about it at the top of the show. I mean, the president said it basically, and widespread reports. We'll see. The devil will be in the details, but good chance that it's happening.
What's the old Tom Friedman rule on the Middle East? Like, you can never trust what people say in private, only in public. So the fact that the Israelis are confirming it in public, that seems significant. But maybe that's a couple hours old. I could have missed that.
Maybe it's just a report on their news. But anyway, I find it's interesting going to the Illinois and Portland thing. It's interesting from a southern state that they find it so strange that the federal government would deploy National Guard. Right, like my father had to go to school with National Guardsmen in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, granted, not equating the issues, right? But to preface my comments, but I feel like there's plenty of precedent for the federal government to use National Guard to either protect their interests or what they deem as, I don't know if this is a civil rights issue, but a civilian rights. I find it very interesting. I guess I guess it was Democrats back then that didn't like it, a different form of Democrat, but I find it rich on that end. But I just felt that was, I wonder where you guys think the end game is for this, because it seems like Trump has no stop. And I guess maybe Hans, you could talk about it because you're on the Hill, but I feel like there's going to be no end to this on the Trump side. I wonder where this end game plays.
It's not a Hill question; it's the courts. I mean, it's a good question, but it ends in the courts.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like this is.
No, I'm not saying that just this incident. I'm talking about the general. Like we're gonna continue this. Like we're gonna use the Guard or federal officials to clean up the streets, if you will, across the United States. Do you think this is a Mark, maybe you can speak. Do you think this is a multi-year deal, or is this just going to be until Trump sees it no longer as politically advantageous?
Good question. Hans in a better position to say, but
it does. It's not. It does. I'd be surprised if it goes beyond Trump.
Yeah.
But Trump seems to be pretty unique in wanting to push limits. But he's also showing. He's also, this is my sort of what I. When you're talking to Democratic sources, like everything that Trump's doing, just let's be certain you're clear, you're comfortable with President AOC doing the same.
Right.
And it's like, so you want to take a share of intel? Okay, well, imagine what happens when a President Sanders or President Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, are you comfortable with them taking a share in Northrop Grumman? I don't know, like just so presidents tend to kind of build on each other.
Happy to have them call Attorney General Larry Tribe and say, please indict Ted Cruz.
Yeah, he should be indicted. Then we can have the should conversation.
His former student.
Yeah, I feel like there's at some point the government has to govern, right? Like, I mean, and this might not be how everyone agrees they govern, right? But I feel like Republicans forever have always gone back on that, probably more than anybody. Like, we mustn't do this because the other party may do it one day, right? But at one point you have to change the mold, right? And I think our great presidents, I'm not saying Trump's gonna be ranked as a great president, but I feel like the ones that are remembered didn't buy into that notion that you mustn't do something because the other party might do it one day. They just did it, and things played out. But that's just, maybe I'm a historian by training, but a financier by trade. But I feel like that's been a constant in American history. But
yeah, Cal, thank you. Grateful to you. Thanks for being part of Two Way. Okay. Oops, hit the wrong button there. Okay. Brian, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are what's on your mind for Hans Nichols.
Hey guys. I'm here in Huntsville, Alabama, the rightful home of the Space Force, for what that's worth. But something that's been on my mind lately that is resonant in some of the comments, including Cal's question before me, is the lack of political will as a detriment to our country. I mean, Hans, in your previous reply, not to overemphasize it, but essentially we're deferring something that really should be or could be Congress's responsibility to the courts. And if we don't intervene, if Congress doesn't or is so inclined to its funding sources to not intervene on so many topics in our country, then that seems to be a bit of a downward spiral. And I know that's a higher level or maybe detrimental question, but I'm curious your thoughts on that as a
No,
an
it's a
observant.
fair point. I mean, if Republicans lose the House, then Democrats can attach all kinds of riders the same way that Republicans did that to Obama on the funding question. Like, look at what Republicans did to Obama on preventing any DoD funds from having any Guantanamo Bay inmates transferred to proper U.S. soil out of Guantanamo Bay. So, like, if Hakeem Jeffries is majority leader, and if by chance Chuck Schumer is majority leader, there will be, I mean, like, we can write them now on this call, the riders to appropriations bills saying that none of these funds shall be used for the deployment of the National Guard into cities. So there's an obvious check if Democrats win the House and or the Senate. They will be able to attach things and make sure. So that's a fair. I was just thinking more like, I expect the court's going to have a pretty busy, pretty busy session, and we're going to get some rulings. How's it work? We get rulings early June. How's that work, Mark? Have you ever done the running of the interns?
I mean, maybe we do. I keep urging them to go faster and break the normal rules because there's just too much hanging in the balance. But they don't listen to me.
And back to the markets, like, I'm sure, like, back to like the markets want to know what's going to happen with tariffs.
Yeah, like, for instance, that one, and everybody says, well, if the Supreme Court doesn't uphold their authority, they'll find some other authority. But it's like I understand they have their fussy ways of doing things, but if they want to be a co-equal branch and they have calendars and they know it's the 21st century, just start, like, schedule some hearings, have some arguments, reach a decision, and don't
bring the cameras in.
Yeah,
should the cameras be in the
I don't
courtroom?
care about the cameras. I just think they're on some schedule that's like for the Flintstones. Like, let's get into or the Jetsons. Let's get on the Jetsons schedule and let's be a little bit more modern because everybody's awaiting. Let's find out if Cook's going to be on the Fed. Let's find out if the tariffs are going to be upheld. Let's find out if he can get rid of birthright citizenship. Like, you're going to decide eventually. So decide now. That's my Beale style rant.
I'm not terribly bothered they take their time, and, like, we live in a digital age and they're proceeding in an analog pace. I don't know. I could argue that both ways.
But if it's something like, does a baker have to bake a cake for a gay wedding? I can wait on that. Wait on that. But the tariffs, no. And they do stuff on an emergency basis all the time.
No.
Right? They do some stuff on an emergency basis. They've done 30 emergency things. So bringing the lawyers in, give them 3 days to write their briefs, have an argument. I'll give you 5 days to decide, but not we'll decide in January or June.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're pretty fast on Bush v. Gore, but that's because they're accounting.
But that's where
that
the clock is running.
Point.
That proves my point. Like, Bush v. Gore, of course they had to decide right away. But I'd make the same argument about the tariffs. All this uncertainty. Decide.
Yeah. I mean,
Cook, whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
2 points, right? Bush v. Gore was 25 freaking years ago, guys.
Yeah.
Right. We're
Oh, I
moving
know.
at the speed of algorithms and AI
Yeah.
kinds
Yeah.
of stuff today, and nobody's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I still hear in your replies, with all due respect, pressure on the courts rather than pressure on Congress to take these concerns seriously, right? And that concerns me as a citizen, as a guy kind of stuck in the middle between blue and red. So
Yeah.
thanks
Yeah.
for the
Brian,
opportunity, Mark.
thank you.
Thanks for the platform.
Grateful to you. Thanks for coming on. Hans, we've talked about, how long the shutdown's going to last or not. Is Congress doing anything else now? Or are they basically just doing this?
But, I mean, the House is out, so they're basically
Yeah.
doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
there'll be like Senate has committee work going on. They
Yeah.
still have to do like things but
Yeah.
there'll be like minor committee work, and they're still confirming, a bunch of ambassadors
Yeah.
got confirmed yesterday. So,
Yeah.
but the House hasn't voted since September 19th. So
Yeah.
we're coming up on 3 weeks now.
Seems like
So,
a good
yeah.
job. Seems like a good job. Anthony, welcome in. Thanks for being part of
Hi,
Two-Way.
Mark. Hi,
Tell
Hans.
folks where you are, what's on your mind for Hans Nichols.
Sacramento, California.
Yeah.
I have 3 questions.
All right, ask him rat-a-tat-tat though.
Okay. One is about why is it that people want to continue? So for me, I really don't like watching the news that much because it
Anthony, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm telling you that the phrase, and I say this with respect, for me, watching the news is not consistent with rat-a-tat-tat. We don't need a prelude. Just ask your question. Because
so
if you want to get 3 in, I'm trying to help you.
what do you think is the best news sources out nowadays?
Stop right there. That's one. Hans, best news sources, Axios, Two-Way, and what else?
Definitely not CNN.
I find myself going to the Journal throughout the day more than I find myself in previous presidencies. I found myself going to the Times and the Post
Totally
more.
agree. Wall Street Journal's kicking
I
everybody's butt.
I feel like I'm going to the Journal more.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
that could just be my own.
No. I'm doing the same thing. They're doing a great job. Anthony, number 2. Remember, think about rat-a-tat-tat.
2, what do you think the courts are going to rule on the whole Chicago thing?
Good. Stop. Hans.
Don't know. Couldn't presume to know.
Yeah. We never predict judges, justices, or juries. Anthony, number 3. You're doing great.
Why is it that people keep calling Trump fascist when he's not?
Okay, that's a good one. Hans, take your time on this.
It feels good. People are blowing off steam. People call political opponents names all the time. Like, is he a fascist? I don't think we can adjudicate this right here and now. But it feels like people forget that a lot of these politicians are they're humans and they're pretty hot. The country's really hot. Like people are coming out of COVID. Like people forgot how to behave socially for a long time. Everyone's too online. Like I think the easiest answer is that they feel like the same way like when you taunt someone. I mean, look, like the Hakeem Jeffries, Mike Lawler back and forth.
I saw that.
They were this close. I mean, it was compelling television and but we shouldn't. But they were this close to doing Your Mama's So Fast.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to just read you the new Truth Social post from the president. Anthony, thank you. All right, Hans, you can annotate this in real time as I read it. Here we go. I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America, and we thank the mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Thoughts, Hans?
My thoughts don't matter. What matters is reaction in the Middle East if they think this is durable. So I want to see what the Qataris, the Egyptians, and the Emiratis and the Saudis say. I suspect they'll all be positive. Don't really care that much about what Macron and sort of the Starmer say, but I suppose that's interesting. You look, first, great news. First round, right?
Yeah.
And then let's see if it's durable. They're pulling back. He apparently has an agreement. He didn't say he was going to visit, but if I were still covering the White House, I would make sure I have my passport with a couple pages in it because I think you're going to be flying to wherever they announce this.
If the hostages are released, does that undermine Hamas's leverage going forward?
I mean, yeah, I suppose that's what, but they're going to get their hostages back too.
Yeah.
So, and they apparently got enough guarantees. I mean, that's a question for them. They apparently got enough guarantees that this is the deal the deal they wanted to take, or they were too worried about being the next phase that Trump had been threatening. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Their leverage is for rebuilding, and they probably got enough assurances. I mean, like money's going to have to come in to rebuild that, and I'm sure that this is part of the plan. And Kushner and Witkoff know the area well. There will be billions and billions of dollars that are going to be spent to rebuild this. But look, I mean, first reaction should have been, instead of going to news mode, was like, look, great news.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm going to ask you a serious question. Leave aside all the Trump bluster about the Nobel Peace Prize and all the kind of psychodrama there. If there really is a deal, and there's no doubt that although the president, I'd say uncharacteristically gives these other countries some credit here, shouldn't he win the Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, you know what I mean? Like
yes, but not this year. Fine, I'll get out of it eventually, but not this year.
Let me put it this way: if Barack Obama did this, would he win the Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, Barack Obama won it without doing it.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
That's
Barack
my point.
Obama was like still like dusting off plans on how he's going to drone people in Pakistan, and he won the Peace Prize, right? I mean, so I mean, I remember that day clearly because I was homesick, and I thought it was like I was like taking a bath, and I was like, what? Obama? I was confused. Like no one, like Obama was confused. Obama acknowledged it. That he probably didn't deserve it that early. He may have deserved it later, but he didn't then. So, yeah, like I don't know. Sure. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm in a position to decide who gets. How does it work? It's the Swedish committee, but the actual Peace Prize is delivered in Norway because all the other ones are in Stockholm, or is it the other way around?
I don't know. It's one of
No,
one of
the
those.
Norwegian
But
committee,
there's
the Peace
five.
Prize is delivered in
There's
Stockholm.
five Trump derangement syndrome addled Europeans who vote for this thing. So I don't think there's any chance he'll get it. I'm just saying, like, I'll be curious to see who does get it. All right, Hans, the answer to your question, just to clarify, Polymarket soon available in the United States. These are bettors from around the world. You can wager just a few cents, but the total wagers on that one Polymarket were over 5 million. So just clarifying that. Hans, couldn't be more grateful to you for spending the hour with us. I hope you'll come back regularly.
Thanks for I've got to jump into edits, which I think you'll appreciate.
Yeah.
And thanks for reading, and thanks for having me on.
Tell people
fun.
Tell people how they can sign up for your nightly newsletter, which is so good.
Well, you can meet me. I'm usually at a kava around the corner, and you can hand me a bag of cash, and I'll just make sure you get it. No, too soon.
Yeah. How about the free? How about the free version? As much as
Hill Leaders, just go to axios@hillleaders.com, and there will be a sign up for it, and it'll land in your inbox every night at 8 p.m. and you'll have a pretty good sense of what's happening on the Hill. Sometimes we can get into the weeds, but we aim to really inform you about what the 4 congressional leaders are thinking about and how they are planning their days and planning to run the government.
I read it every night, and during baseball playoff season, I read it between innings.
How many times have you watched the Judge home run? So good.
Oh my God. I've watched it a lot, but I'll tell you the other, what's the guy's name on the Blue Jays? I can never remember anybody's name. The guy in the Blue Jays who's like the best player in baseball. Somebody tell me his name. Guerrero. Thank you.
Sure.
Did you watch the shot from behind him of his home run? You
No.
gotta go
awesome?
find that. I've never seen that. I don't remember ever seeing that shot. There's a camera like behind him, and he hit it much further than Judge did. But it's an incredible shot.
Who's pitching tonight?
I don't remember. I think the Blue Jays have like a reliever starting the game, so they're in trouble. And the guy
Mariners lost, which is bad news. But anyway, I'll let people get on with their day.
Yeah. Okay, Hans, I'm grateful to you. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks,
Please
guys.
come back. All right, folks, a few things. Right now, you can turn over and watch Bridget Fetisi on Real America with Bridget. She's going to talk about the assassination culture that unfortunately exists in this country. Again, Bridget's show, if you've not watched it, I recommend it to you. Please watch it. Don't forget, again, David Bonson and I will be with you in 6 days here talking about the economy. Chance for two-way community members to ask questions to David, October 14th, 4 p.m. Eastern time, not available on YouTube or X, just on the two-way platform. So please sign up for that now to save your space, tway.tv/TBG. And Sean Dan and I will be on with what I expect will be a pretty rock'em sock'em episode of the morning meeting tomorrow, where we'll talk about the overnight developments in the Middle East, the government shutdown, and those of you concerned, you can check in on how much my cough is driving me to a very early death. Thank you for being part of the two-way experience. Very grateful to Hans for being here. We will see you at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, right here on Two Way.